right, folks, welcome to Nino's Corner.tv. I'm joined again with Stewart Swerdlow, and let me tell you, your last video was a home run. It's got over 100,000 views. I mean, people really like to listen to what you have to say. You do have an extensive pedigree. Your great uncle was the first president of the Soviet Union. You have ties to the KGB. In fact, I guess your great uncle's son is the one that created the KGB. Am I correct in saying that?
Correct. His son, my cousin Andre. Andre, yeah, Swerdlow, yeah.
And this is it's amazing stuff, man. It's absolutely amazing. But let's talk about this 3i Atlas. I've been talking to you about it. You know, we've been texting about it. I'm like, look, man, I'm seeing a lot of stuff coming out on this comet or spaceship, whatever you want to call it, and the mainstream media is really playing this up. Now, I thought by now it was supposed to be in our skies and visible. I don't know, maybe you can help clarify that, but what you're going to tell my audience today is you've actually been briefed on this, and you're going to tell my audience only what you're allowed to say, correct?
Yes, and maybe a little bit more.
Here is the pictures of it right now. This is what it has no tail, folks.
Right.
They're saying it's intelligent design. They're saying it's making maneuvers that it should not be making. So, you know, third eye to me is obviously the pineal gland, right? That's what I think they're referring to, or awakening, some kind of an awakening, ascension, whatever. But I think this is very symbolic. Could it also be the blue kachina with the Hopi Indians talk about? There's so many theories and myths and conspiracies out there with this thing. I'm hoping you can help me clear this up, Stewart.
I can, and I'll do my very best to straighten everything out for everybody. And just to answer what you said earlier before, right now, since it's gone around the sun already, if you have a telescope, you can see it in the distance. However, it will come closest to the Earth on December 19th. So I'm going to first give you a little bit, first about opinion of mine, if I may, and then a little history of where it comes from. And then I'm going to tell you what else is going on.
All right, let me just get to this really fast before you do that. Noble Gold, folks, Noble Gold. The Fed's out of options, rate cuts, money printing, balance sheet reversals. They call it policy, but it's really panic. Inflation's eating savings, the job market's slowing, and confidence in the dollar is fading fast. For decades, the Fed has built a house of paper, and now it's starting to burn, folks. That's why smart investors are moving to what's real: gold and silver. Visit Noble Gold Investments today to get your free wealth protection kit. NobleGoldInvestors.com. Wealth protection simplified. Get over there. Start buying up some gold and silver, folks. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I had to do it. Go ahead, Stewart. Take it away.
Well, actually, I'm glad that you did say that, because one of my assignments from some of the government agencies is to procure gold. And they told me right now it's about 4,000 per troy ounce. But by spring, early summer, it could be 7,000 per ounce.
That's insane.
So if you buy it now, you will have a profit, and it will keep going up and up. And it's all because of the digital currency that will be initiated sometime next year in 2026. And that's a whole nother category. But I'll talk about it. I think I did mention on another show of yours about all that. But I want to say something because, you know, sometimes I speak publicly about things like aliens, interdimensional information, and so on. A lot of people, especially the ones who claim to have very religious belief system, and I respect that. But I just have to make a statement here, Nino, and that is that the Bible is a code. It's a coded document. We cannot take it literally. You have to look at the words, look at the gematria of the words, what the meanings are. And according to the Zohar, there's 600,000 meanings to every letter, to every sentence. So we can't take it at surface value. And there are people who believe that God only created life on the earth. And when you realize that there are trillions of galaxies, trillions of universes, and infinite alternate universes, to think that this is the only planet with an intelligent life form, to me, is actually insulting God, because God is a singularity that manifests as a multiplicity. So it manifests in every infinite way that it can. So we must respect that and not think that we're the only ones, because that's to me insulting to the God.
Very, very, very small-minded, right?
Yes, and I also understand that there are people who believe that extraterrestrials are either demons or angels, and I've heard that a lot this past week. And yes, there are demons and there are angels, but these beings are not that. There are many civilizations out there that have an agenda. They're not love, light, and peace as the New Age people would like you to believe. And I mentioned this before. Just because a civilization has high technology does not make them spiritual. And I've said this on your show before, when technology exceeds spirituality, that civilization is doomed. And it has happened many times in
It
creation.
seems like that's what's happening to humanity right now.
That's why we're having a choice right now. That's what this thing is about, is a choice. And I'm going to get to that in a moment. Um, there are also people, and I'm sure you know this very well, that purposely put negative comments on videos and so on. And some of them are paid shills. Some of them are just, they have nothing to do with their life, and they just attack other people. And there are those people who just are afraid of the information, and so they deny that it's true. So I wanted to make that statement up front, because I know that what I'm going to say might disturb many people, uh, but I wanted to express my opinion on that. Now, this object, this 3I Atlas, and this is the third object, by the way, that's come in the last couple of years like this. It's coming from an area called the Kuiper Belt. The Kuiper Belt is a region of space that surrounds the solar system. And around the Kuiper Belt is the Oort cloud. The Oort cloud is where the second sun of our solar system exists, which is why we
The
cannot
binary
see.
star.
Correct. Correct. In 1993, the NASA scientists discovered it, and they call it the companion. They gave it the name the companion. It's smaller than our star, our home star, but it's still a binary system, and it is affecting what's going on the Earth now, which again, we did this on another show before with the gamma rays and so on. So this Kuiper Belt that surrounds our solar system, in 1930, scientists discovered the planet Pluto. It was never there before. And since 1930, many, many objects have been discovered in this Kuiper Belt that surrounds our solar system. And people have noticed, the scientists have noticed, that they have odd shapes, odd maneuvers. They don't seem to be natural. And you may recall a few years ago that all of a sudden they reclassified Pluto as a Kuiper Belt object, and they said it was not a planet, if you remember.
I do remember that, yes.
Yes. And then they discovered that there were these moons or other objects around Pluto, but that since it's so small, it could not, with a gravitational pull, attract these objects. And one of them is called Chiron. Anyway, since 1930, all these objects have been seen and discovered, and on the news, almost every other day, they were saying this object's discovered, this one. And since it became a little suspicious, they stopped reporting these objects. And then they reclassified Pluto, and then they stopped talking about it. Now, there is a conglomeration of beings who, in these last 90 years, 95 years, have surrounded our solar system almost like a blockade, because the Earth is considered to be the Iran of the galaxy. They consider it a dangerous place. And so they've been observing it for all of these decades.
Probably since the nuclear explosion, right? The nuclear bomb, the A bomb, right?
Well, even before, because it started in 1930. But what people don't know is the Germans in 1927 had technology that was given to them by a civilization from the Aldebaran star system to advance their culture so that they could take over the earth. And that's when Nazism started just a few years later. So this became a big factor for why there was the surrounding of our solar system by these beings who felt threatened.
I saw pictures, and I could try to look them up right now, but of huge spacecraft parking like right next to the sun, almost like they were getting a charge off the sun. And these were taken by certain observatories or telescopes, and I don't remember when, but this was around, I want to say 2012, around that time period that I saw these photos.
Yes, I saw them too.
I'll try to look them up right now, but you know what I'm talking about, right? They were massive ships, almost the sun. I mean, you could see them next to the sun.
They were planet size.
Yeah.
And they came actually out of the sun, by the way, because what people also don't understand that a black hole in one universe is a star in an alternate universe. It's a vortex. It's how the universes breathe. So it breathes in through a black hole in one universe and breathes out through a star in another universe. It's an exchange of energy that balances all the universes. And so our star, all stars, are an exit point from other universes and galaxies.
You know, I've been looking for this picture, and it looks like they erased it from the internet. I've been trying to find it for a long time, but I remember I saw them when they first came out, and as quickly as I saw it, they were gone. Those photos.
Yeah, I saw them too. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it was pretty damn. It was very convincing.
Yeah, and people also have to know that the sun is that cold energy. It's not hot. And I'll explain. If the sun was hot, space would be warm.
Agreed.
And so the only thing that makes the Earth warm on the surface is the atmosphere. As the light of the sun refracts through the atmosphere and reflects against the ground, it's the ground that then heats up from the light and causes warmth. In space, it's very cold. You can't burn up from the sun's heat unless you're on top of it. You understand?
I don't know how fire survives in a vacuum. I'm still like very baffled by that, because if space is a vacuum and oxygen, it takes oxygen for fire to breathe. How is there any kind of But they say it's
well, space is not a vacuum. Actually, every spot is occupied by some kind of energy. There's no such thing as a vacuum.
Okay.
Everything is energy. And in fact, when you're in space, you cannot see stars. You can only see starlight when you're underneath an atmosphere that's like a magnifying glass, and then you can see the star in space. Look at photos that were taken from the moon or Mars into space. It's black.
But I don't believe in the moon landing in the first place.
Well, that was another story. Yes, it was a Hollywood production.
Okay, I'm just gonna say I hope you weren't going there, because that was gonna be a go.
No, but that's how we knew, because in that Hollywood production you could see stars, and they knew, and that's why the Russians knew that it was fake.
The Hollywood set, right? Or I think it was done in New Mexico or something like that.
And if you speed up the video, you could see them just walking. They're not jumping like.
It's so ridiculous. Well, that's another segment for another time. But
yeah.
But so you were gonna go ahead. You were gonna tell me about the Third Eye Atlas. That obviously it's here for something.
Yeah, and so I asked the director. I call him the director. I can't give you his name. He's from Cape Canaveral. And I had a debriefing, and I specifically asked about Three Eye Atlas. I said, "What is it?" And I know that when he doesn't want to tell me something, he just ignores my question. But this is what he texted me afterwards. He said, and I'm quoting from my text, "We have entered into a new phase of interstellar connectivity, and it will awaken Earthlings to the fact that we have never been alone. It will change how people view life and what we value as important. And that's it. From coming from him from Cape Canaveral, that's a big statement. Okay.
So it is going to be contact.
Yes. Now, these beings have technology. They can go from the Kuiper Belt to the Earth in 1 second.
Right.
You know, they can use a wormhole. They can manufacture a wormhole, and bing, they're here. Why are they dragging it out across all the planets? It's a dramatic show. It's a show for humans to see. Look, we're not going to shock you. We're going to take our time and come so that you realize this is not a comet. We're not a comet. This is a Manhattan-sized vehicle. And on this vehicle are many, many representatives of different civilizations, some friendly, some not friendly. And that's the other
Wait,
thing.
on the same ship?
Yes, because they're all there for the same reason, to tell Earth, poop or get off the pot, so to speak.
So here's my question. So this is coming right on time. When I've always said that it would come, you said at one point, "Are we ready to play the alien card yet?" When Trump won the election in 2016, which makes me think, all right, indictments are coming out. We know arrests are coming. I don't know exactly when, but I've heard they're coming.
They are.
Okay, so now the alien ship arrives. Excuse me, but is this the government playing the alien card?
Okay, so that's it. You brought up an interesting question here, because up until, let's say, the beginning of the Biden administration, there was a plan for a staged alien invasion using holographic images, using Blue Beam Project, which you may have heard of. And there are, yeah. And so this is real, though. This object's not a hologram. It's not part of a staged event. Well, from the Kuiper Belt, it's staged, but it's not a human staged event. And that's what's freaking everybody out in high offices across the globe. This object is sending warning messages, warning, because they're giving humans a chance to make a choice. Either you behave yourselves, create a peaceful condition so that you don't become a threat to other civilizations.
They probably know we're also on the brink of World War III.
Which is why President Trump is trying to stop all of these wars. He's doing this because he knows what these beings are. He knew that they were on their way to come here, and he knows what they could possibly do. And so he's doing his very best to stop all these wars and create a peaceful planet that's not a threat. But unfortunately, there are those who don't want that outcome. And that's another problem, because in this Kuiper Belt, there are different species. There are humanoid species, there are robotic cyborg type species, there are etheric, non-physical, there are reptilian types, insectoids, which are the most aggressive against humans. They all have a different perspective. Some want to annihilate humanity because they said we are an artificial race, which we are created race. We're not natural, and that we should be annihilated. Others say we should remain in quarantine until we advance. Others say we should make these humans advance, teach them and help them. They're in the minority, by the way. And so there's a lot of agendas, a lot of agendas. Humans will find out that this has been a vast experiment and that the earth actually.
And that's going to shake up every religion.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
that's going to be, forget the holy wars with Muslims and Christians and all that. This is a whole another set of issues.
Absolutely correct. That's correct. And that's why NASA is holding on to that comet explanation, even though it's not a comet. It's turned blue. It's accelerated. It has reversed thrusters.
Jeez.
It has no tail. It has changed emissions.
So what is this thing going to do? Is it going to plant itself over our planet until we all just look at it and then they come down in a tractor beam? I mean, what's it going to do? Is it just what's it? It's so far it's giving messages to our governments, but they're not telling humanity anything. So it's just kind of
Right.
falling on deaf ears. So excuse me, but we don't know what they're coming here for. A lot of people are still guessing this. So let's say, what does it do? How does it make its? How does it make itself known?
And that's why it's taking its time. That's why it's like parading around so that everybody can see, giving certain governments time to do what they're asked to do before they arrive on December 19th.
So you're saying this thing's arriving December 19th.
Yes.
Okay, so now you're giving a date. Are you sure? Are you sure you want to do that?
Yes. That's what I was told, so that's what I'm telling you.
Okay,
I'll
December
tell
9th.
you, I'm a messenger.
Okay, all right, but a lot of people make predictions on my shows and they so
Well, that's what NASA says.
okay,
December
but
19th.
isn't NASA closed down because of the government shutdown?
There's a lot of agencies that are closed down officially, but behind the scenes, they're doing work because I'm working with some of them and they're doing work.
Okay, so it's here to arrive December 19th, and it's what's it going to do once it arrives here? What's
Unfortunately, only they know that. Only the ones on board know what they're going to do. They didn't say, but they expect by the time they arrive here that this Earth is a different planet than when they started on their mission. I was also told by the director that by March of 2026, a few months away, the planet, this Earth, will be very different than it is now. That's a direct quote.
I've heard of I've had Daniel Brinkley on, and I've had a lot of people on say, that we're going to get hit with solar flares, a solar flash. David Wilcox talked about that. Will this thing cause some kind of coronal mass ejection to hit our planet? Will this?
That's already happened. I mean, I
Okay.
told you on previous shows with you about the gamma ray bombardment
Yeah, right.
from Eta Carinae and Betelgeuse star systems, where there were supernovas in 1993 that are hitting the Earth now with gamma rays and muons and other things, and it's affecting our sun and it's affecting the magma under the Earth. We've talked about this in prior shows, and so and and unfortunately, if you live on the West Coast, you better start considering alternatives because off the coast of Vancouver Island, the Pacific Ocean floor is separating,
Yeah.
it's splitting. And as that magma comes up, it's going to create tsunamis and violent earthquakes along the Cascadia fault line, which will then trigger the San Andreas fault line, as well as the entire volcanic range from British Columbia to California and even into Yellowstone. So we're not in a very good position right now. And people need to prepare, especially if you live in the Western United States. You need to prepare. We've talked about Texas, how all the earthquakes
Yeah.
are starting up there, and New Mexico.
But yeah,
Same,
West Texas, man, we've been getting them here. It never happened before.
right? And now it's normal,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
it's
And,
really weird.
and guess what? There's quakes happening now in Kansas.
Jeez.
Oklahoma is now one of the highest earthquake states in the United States. Oklahoma. Seattle is doomed, seriously, and so is
West
Vancouver.
Coast. Well, I guess any place on the West Coast, San Francisco, all of them, right?
Correct, correct. And here's the other thing people don't know. Under the Pacific Ocean, there are over 1 million active volcanoes. 95% of them are unmonitored because of their remote locations. So we don't even know what's going off in the Pacific. And that plate is grinding against the North American plate. So we're in a very
So, I mean, we're
precarious.
doomed no matter what. Might as well
Well,
just party like it's 1999.
well,
I mean,
I'll tell you.
how many things can go wrong here? It's everything. I mean, one thing can cascade to the next. These gamma rays that you said, can you explain to my audience the gamma rays that are hitting the Earth right now that the governments know about that you said in the last program? Just in case someone's thinking to themselves, what are they talking about, gamma rays?
Yeah, well, we know gamma rays can be naturally in the ambient environment. However, when there is a supernova, when a star explodes and then shrinks down because it expired, it sends out these gamma emissions as like a death throw of itself, and then these waves of gamma rays move across space. And so in the 𝗧𝗵𝗂𝗁 star system and 𝗏𝗏 star system in 1993, NASA noted what they called a cluster or nest of supernovas simultaneously. We don't know why they happen so abundantly together, but this massive wave of gamma rays are now reaching our solar system, hitting the planets, hitting the sun, which is then why we have so many coronal mass ejections happening now, where we're even seeing northern lights in summertime, which never happened before. There's a reason why this is happening, but worse than that is these gamma rays are pushing into the surface of the earth, heating up magma and melting bedrock so that it's coming more to the surface. And that's
Makes
also
sense.
creating volcanic eruptions where volcanoes were thought to be dormant or extinct, and they're coming back to life. There's a volcano in Iran that has been extinct for 720,000 years, and now it's coming back to life.
I mean, this makes you think, about everything in the Bible, that at the end times, this is all going to happen.
Exactly. And this is end times. We are in end times. But it says we will survive and have a better life afterwards. This is a purging of the evil, of demonic entities. That's what we're experiencing, a purge of this planet and of humanity. So even though it seems fearful and scary and uncertain, we all have to realize that we came into this lifetime for a reason, because we needed to experience that for our souls so that we could upgrade our levels of understanding and mentality and spirituality, to know that no matter what happens, we have eternal life and we will survive. And people need to keep that in mind.
Is that going to be a message they bring? 3i Atlas is one of the messages. I mean, I know that they're all kind of a mixed bag of nuts up there, because I don't know how they're all getting along if they all have different agendas for Earth and they're all together on the same spaceship.
Well,
Must be
remember,
a lot of fighting going on.
there is in the Kuiper Belt, there is infighting in the Kuiper Belt. In the Kuiper Belt, they're not all together. This is a do or die mission. In other words, all these groups that have all these different agendas and can't agree, after 95 years was decided, let's get together, go there, and we'll see who's right. If you want, the annihilation group is right, the quarantine group is right.
But
Let's see.
what about people? There's different types of people. There's different vibrations of people. Some people will go along with the more harmonic type of beings, and others will, and then there's going to be a lot of human beings that I don't feel like I'm even part of this human race when I look at them acting like animals in the streets. I mean, we are also very mixed up, and there's many different flavors, if a very proper way to put it, of human beings. Like, not everyone's vibrating at the same frequency. I mean, there's people out looting, rioting. They're obviously at a very low vibrational field, and then there's other people that are meditating, trying to ascend. I mean, so human beings are very diverse.
And to your point about I don't call them animals, I call them demonic possession. They are programmed, mind-controlled individuals who are under demonic possession and control, and that's the ones who are creating these criminal acts all over the planet.
So is this ship going to beam people up, take people with them, or are they going to? What are they going to? I mean, are we going to see these beings December 19th, or is it just going to be a streak in the sky? Is it going to be like Heaven's Gate? People are going to drink a bunch of Kool-Aid and die? I mean, what's going to happen?
I mean, people, if you notice, people are committing extensive rape lately.
No doubt about it. But I mean, I'm not sure what this looks like December 19th.
Nobody really does, Nino, because it's not here yet. And we don't know what they're going to. They're not going to tell us what they're going to do. They just warned some governments about what the governments need to do. You understand? Because you have to understand, when you are mentally higher level than humanity, higher level, you understand that the universe, all of creation is one. There's only one mind with different iterations, if you will. And so what one does in another place affects another one, even in a faraway place, because there is connection.
Like
There's
string
connection.
theory almost, right?
Yes, and that's why there was an experiment in Japan and London in a vacuum tube with electrons. That you may have heard of this, where the scientist, with his mind, thought of moving the electrons, and they moved in Japan, and at the same time, the electrons in London did the same thing because there's a connection
So
energetically.
space has no, it has
Time and space are illusions.
right. They're illusions. There is no
They're-
time and space. Everything's connected as one.
Correct. Correct. And so
And that's why, with us being an artificial race, apparently, allegedly, they look at us as a threat because what we do affects everything instantaneously.
especially nuclear weapons. Nuclear weapons destroy the veil between physical and non-physical. So you might think you're blowing up a bomb someplace, a nuclear weapon, but it's affecting a different frequency vibration on another dimension, and you are attacking other beings by doing that.
What about, and it's not just using them in war, but what about our testing facilities when we test these things? I mean, it's the same thing.
That's why, if you recall, during the 50s, 60s, and 70s, when they would send nuclear weapons up to test them, there would be these UFO vehicles that would stop them and turn them off.
I have seen video on that. I have seen that.
Yeah. And another thing we need to understand is that there is a difference between the Third Reich and the Fourth Reich. And this is why there's the war in Ukraine. The Fourth Reich exists in Antarctica. And this was confirmed to me by the director. He said to me, Stewart, what will people say when they find out that there's a Fourth Reich in Antarctica? What will they say when they find out that we're not alone? And he said, you could be standing next to somebody that looks like a person and they're not. You could be sitting on an airplane or on a train and the person next to you is not human. And you don't know that.
I've already seen that, I think.
Well,
I've already seen a lot of people out there that don't look very human to me.
Yes. And I understand.
I mean, I've been around a lot, and I have sat next to a lot of them on a Southwest flight.
Yeah, well, I would never go on Southwest Airlines anymore. But that's a whole nother story. And that's the other thing, is that starting next week, they're cutting flights.
Yeah,
you may
I
not
saw
be
that.
able to go anywhere. And
and that's because of the government shutdown primarily.
Yes. And may I say something about that? So I was told 2 days ago at my debriefing that the shutdown will be over by November 14th. So a week from this Friday.
Okay.
And interestingly, they told me, and this is somewhat confidential, on November 14th, the Prince of Saudi Arabia will be arriving in the United States because they're making a special deal with the United States. And I cannot tell you what it is, except I'll give you this hint. Saudi Arabia's economy was built on oil. That's how they amassed cajillions of dollars. They realize that in a few years, there will no longer be an oil necessity because we're going into hydrogen. Any one of you out there that has an electric vehicle, you just threw your money in the toilet bowl because another year or two, they won't exist. It's moving to hydrogen power, which is unlimited. So the Saudis are changing their economic base to a new technology that will be for the next couple of 100 years. You understand? That's what
Securing
they're
a
coming
securing a foothold in it. So that's why they're
in
going
the
to
future.
speak to Trump.
Yeah.
What's
And
your
that's
what's your and just a kind of a little pivot here, but what's your thoughts on JD Vance? I mean, are we going to see him make a move for the presidency? Are we going to see Trump for another term?
no.
What do you see? After at around 2028?
Okay. I can't tell you what I see. I tell you what they told me.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Because I don't. It's not my prediction. It's what I was debriefed.
Right. So all the governments kind of play along with this. They know what's going to go on. They know they're all briefed.
The big. I mean, they're not going to brief Rwanda or
Right.
Sri Lanka, but
Right.
Russia. But the others know. Trump will not be in office full term. Sometimes towards the end of 26, he will announce he has a health issue, and he will resign, and Vance will take over. Vance will be known as the technology president. It's a 12-year plan with the 4 years of Trump and 8 years of Vance. And the reason is when you change presidents every 4 years, all their policies, all their agendas get stopped.
Right.
So there's like no point. But if you have long-term president or agenda, then things can happen. That's why President Xi in China is president for life, and the same for Putin, because you can't do anything in 4 years or 5 years.
Okay. So with that being said, when did the arrest begin? Because I would imagine, or does it not happen under Trump's
It's beginning.
administration? Because I know it's beginning, but or does it really start picking up under Vance? That way, it doesn't look like Trump's responsible for the arrest. Like it's not retribution and revenge anymore.
They're going to say that. They're going to say that anyway. You know that.
Right. But if it's under Vance,
Vance was chosen specifically, and I was told that Don Jr. advised his father to choose him.
That's what I've heard. Yeah.
And so that's the agenda. And whatever you see on the news, Trump could, look at something the wrong way and they'll say that he has a brain tumor.
Right.
They pick on every little damn thing and make it into something it's not.
Right.
Okay, so you just have to ignore the media. Just ignore whatever. They told me, whatever you hear on the news, it's a lie. Point blank told me that.
Right.
So, but I still use the news for my podcast every week, which I send to you because I have to know what they're saying out there. Anyway, so Vance will take over for the 8 years, but actually 10, because next year, as we get towards the midterms, and he has to get everything in place before the midterms. He must. And this thing with Mamdani in New York City, he wanted Mamdani to win, not because he supports him, because he wants
to keep the fear alive.
Well,
it's scared. It's you got to keep the boogeyman out there, right?
It's beyond that. He wants the financial centers of New York to move to Florida, to the Palm Beach area. And I think I mentioned on a previous show.
Wow,
the area between Miami and Cape Canaveral, that strip, will technically be the capital of the new American empire.
Wow.
Financially, politically, every billionaire is moving to that area, as you know. They're all going there.
Wow.
And that's why he wants to empty out New York of the billionaires, of the financial centers, and prove the evil of socialism. And then there will be coming a time that Mamdani will be brought up on charges of treason, stripped of his citizenship, and either arrested or deported or both.
Wow, and Obama too.
That's in process already.
Yeah.
And I could tell you that big trouble, and she knows it.
I've heard that. I think you were the one that was saying that.
Bill. I have a son that runs private aircraft that Bill Clinton uses, and he was told he doesn't even live anymore. She's toast, and he wants to stay away, but he's not well.
I've heard that as well. You could look at the pictures of him.
Yeah, he's not good, and neither is King Charles. King Charles won't be around much longer.
Yeah, they both look very sick, man.
And that's why Trump went to Britain in September, because he's been offered to bring the United States into the Commonwealth. And when bringing into the Commonwealth, they will then ultimately assimilate the UK into American superstate. That's what he's doing with Canada. He's doing that with Greenland. You will see that happening in Iceland as well. The entire North Atlantic region, Caribbean, Central America, South America, it will be under an American superstate. That's why he's eliminating the leaders of Venezuela, Colombia. You will see Cuba, Nicaragua. They're all going.
Jeez. There's a picture of to bring it up. Look at that picture of him right there.
He looks like a corpse.
That's
Very sick man.
A lot of stress right there.
There's a lot of karma there.
Yeah. Oosh.
Yeah, not good.
No, definitely, you can see that soul is rotting.
Well,
Not
he's
good.
demonic. He's
Yeah.
demonic.
Ooh.
That's what happens to when you sell your soul to Satan. That's what happens to you.
Yeah. Absolutely. Stewart, thank you for joining me. I want to get this up today, so let me do my best. Where do people find you?
You can find me at expansions.com, EXPANSIONS.com. You will also find a link to Swerdlow Ministries, where we take donations to help human beings around the world. We help people with food, homes, jobs, everything that a church would do.
Beautiful. Stewart, I know you've also been saying prayers for my father, and I appreciate that, so thank you.
And he'll be, God bless him, and God bless you, and I will continue my work for him.
Thank you. All right, folks, you decide. I laid out for you all to play it out, and what an amazing, stellar guest, Stewart Swerdlow, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Stewart, so much.
Thank you, Nino. God bless you too.